What's up, guys? I wanted to make this quick video which is kind of going to act like a preview for another video I want to make about lack of team preview pre-Gen 5. It's important as far back as RBY, of course, but I am mostly going to be focusing on Gens 3 and 4 as those are popular old gens that people try to get into. And it's very crucial in GSC as well. That's very applicable to whichever. And honestly, the skills you need to figure out lasts in team preview, or in non-team preview, sorry, are very similar to the ones you need in team preview gens as well, insofar as you have to try and figure out what your opponent's sets are, which can be, a big mystery. Oh, what has Stealth Rock? For example, that's a tough one to figure out from team preview. But specifically, I'm going to be doing stuff about lack of team preview in these gens. And I caught this game earlier, and I wanted to make a quick example out of it as one way that you can turn the lack of team preview to your advantage if you are smart, and I think that's a good thing. It's not easy to do, though. You can't just say, oh, well, my team will be unpredictable and they won't be able to figure it out because of the lack of team preview and succeed. No, it has to be well thought out. So here we have a Smeargle lead against a Heatran lead. Smeargle is slower than Heatran, so it's plus speed Heatran, and it gets Spored, and now Bronzong comes in as rocks go up. Smeargle is a hyper offense team. Pokemon, this is, as soon as you see that lead Smeargle, you already have to be analyzing. I mean, sometimes it's easy, right? Like, oh, Azelf means offense, Hippowdon means stall, and Smeargle is like an offense kind of thing, whereas Heatran, generally offense, but could be balance, could be, every turn you're trying to get more information is the basic idea. So, some team like Smeargle, you already know what's coming at you. Almost surely some sort of ghost type, very popularly a Scarf Rotom because it's better at spin blocking Starmie, and it's a great cleaner with spikes. And then a bunch of other, fast, hard hitters. Whereas with the Heatran lead, it's not as concrete. I mean, not that it's very concrete necessarily with Smeargle itself, but generally what you're going to be up against. Whereas there are other leads that can be more ambiguous, kind of like a Skarmory can be a defense team or a very fast-paced offense team. But on turn one, you're already adapting your game plan once you figure out which it is, and and if you have a good team, then you should be prepared for either of them. Anyway, so that's the basic idea. But Heatran, Bronzong, you're thinking offense team, and now you're thinking what else is there going to be? T-Tar, if this is Trick Room, offensive Bronzong, strange Smeargle switch, but okay. And it's like Ban T-Tar, Mixed D-Knight, big heavy hitters like that. Generally, a Heatran lead will anchor some sort of bulky offense team, where Smeargle will lead off some sort of super fast-paced hyper offense team. So you constantly have to be adapting your game plan based on what you know of the opponent, and this is exactly why if you can turn those common assumptions on their heads, then that can be really big. Like, for example, if you have a Skarmory lead and they think, oh, it's a stall team, and then you immediately start stacking rocks and spikes, and you have fast taunt to block their hazards, and then you're throwing hard hitters at them, you might overwhelm them very quickly if they're not prepared. So, or if they don't adjust quickly enough. That's not a perfect example because it's something you should take into consideration when you see a Skarm lead. In fact, I think offensive Skarm lead is probably more popular than defensive Skarm lead, but either works. And I mean, there are things like balanced Azelf lead teams, so you can punish that. I mean, that's a great example. I made some videos not too long ago about Choice Band Azelf coming back. I mean, they think you're just some rocks suicide lead, and you are able to just smack something right off the bat with Choice Band. That fits well on bulky offense teams as opposed to, setup spam, DD Gyarados, and the two other DDers, T-Tar and D-Knight, because Kingdra sucks. So turning that on its head is big. So rocks, spikes go up, Bronzong EQ strangely doesn't gyro ball, so the alarm bells should be ringing in your head. What is going on here? Because this is an SPL game, right? Like on ladder, you can scratch your head all you want, but you will never truly understand kind of a terrifying cosmic thought, isn't it? What is going through your opponent's brain as they do like the dumbest stuff? And sometimes it trips you up so bad that you don't do so well. But, so here, at the SPL level where your opponent is competent, supposedly. No, your opponent is competent, so you're thinking, okay, what's going on? And this is why Laurel decides, okay, let me not play into whatever hand this is. I'm going to U-turn to my Scizor. So, hey, Hyper Offense, Banded U-turn. This is or Rocks and Spikes, Banded U-turn. This is a very, very old strategy. So he gets a big Banded U-turn there. Goes to Rotom on a potential Boom. Misses a Hypnosis, and now... I mean, this is also why I think that lack of team preview is good, because you have to have some semblance of metagame knowledge. Because otherwise, if you're just autopiloting in a generation you don't play, and you would not think Hypnosis Bronzong, well, that must mean it's Rain Dance, because why else would it use Hypnosis? Generally, Hypnosis Bronzong is used alongside Rain Dance because, look, you're already living on the edge with Rain Dance. You may as well try to get Zong to shut something down with Sleep. It makes it a lot less useless against defensive teams. Oh, Skarm's going to spike on it forever. Oh, never mind, Skarm is put to sleep and now is just, fodder for my Specs Kingdra, for example. It's not going to threaten me with spikes and whirlwinds, nothing like that. And But with most other Bronzong sets, you're not going to fit Hypnosis. It's generally going to be a waste. Not that it's completely useless, but yeah, here you're thinking, okay, this is setting up Rain. And here Laurel knows what's going on, and you see here, turn 6, he's like, yeah, something's up for sure, as he takes, he goes down from full timer to 210 seconds, so 90 seconds. And he T-bolts, Rain Dance goes up, and yeah, now he's just going to have to weather the storm, pardon the slight pun. As Zong goes down, because it's Damp Rock, not Custap Berry. Not that it was going to do anything anyway. Custap Hypnosis, I guess, would be cool. But yeah, now it comes the Specs Kingdra, and he's got to sacrifice the Smeargle, of course. So this is what I mean by turning Team Preview to your advantage. When you see a Heatran lead, you do not think Rain. In Team Preview, then it's... I promise I'm not trying to knock Team Preview. Like, oh, Team Preview doesn't take skill because it should... No, of course it's not. That's complete nonsense. But what I am saying is that it's a different set of skills. Like, you would not be able to surprise the opponent with this kind of Rain strategy in Team Preview. They would see the Kingdra and whatever other Rain abusers, and they'd be like, oh, there's some Rain here. It's a possibility if you're in tune with the metagame. And... Like you would watch out for random Rain Dance on a Pokemon like, I don't know, Latias or something. Oh, you got to take that into consideration. But here you see Heatran Bronzong. It's like, I've seen a million Heatran Bronzong teams, but they're all like bulky offense. T-Tar, D-Knight, Starmie, Rotom, Latias, Breloom, Metagross, whatever. But you don't see Heatran lead and think Rain, and that is... It's a very simple idea, but why not use Heatran lead on Rain? It's a great offensive stealth rocker. It lures in things like Clefable and Latias, which you love blowing up on. You lure those in, and it also lures in T-Tar a lot. You can damage it very heavily with Earth Power, or even if the T-Tar catches your explosion, it's like, well, that T-Tar is a lot worse at cutting off my Rain now, because it can't take a hit, can't weather a hit. So... Heatran lures in these threats to Rain and then blows up on them, and it completely switches your opponent off to the idea of Rain. I'm not saying that Rain is always a dead giveaway at the lead. I mean, when you face an Azelf lead, you think, okay, it's going to be something hyper-offensive, so when it uses Rain Dance, you have a little heart attack. That's happened to me before. But it's definitely not the most unexpected thing, because you knew you were going to have to play a high-octane, fast-paced game anyway. So... the difference is, and if you see something like an Uxie lead is it's like, okay, this is either going to be Paraspam or Rain. So you are aware of that possibility before the first turn even goes off. Whereas here, you just completely switch off to it. And that's pretty much the whole point. The video could end here, but obviously we're not going to do that because that would be very silly. But yeah, sack the Smeargle, and it's locked into Spec Surf. So if it Hydro, then Starmie would die hilariously to this, but he gets... the Ice Beam off, so we can put it into Scizor range, and burns another Rain turn. The Heatran is, it's asleep. Oh, no, it's not in Scizor range. I'm stupid. Sorry, he gets it in Lucario range. This is a very old school style hyper offense team from Laurel too. But there's the Scarf Rotom, of course, and the Scizor, and the offensive hitters, and the late game cleaner, Lucario. So this is not... Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that every team in a Team Previewless metagame needs Extreme Surprise to be successful. That would be very silly. And there are teams where from turn 0 sometimes, but turn 1, turn 2, 5 of their 6 Pokemon. Sometimes even all 6, and it's no secret, and you are Think about it like this. The goal is effectively to start creating team preview in your head based on what you know from turn 0. Every little bit of information. I've seen Hippowdon and I've seen Breloom, so this is not your standard Hippo, Scarm, Stall team. This is a Hippo balance kind of deal. Okay, so what's likely there? Starmie, Zapdos, those kinds of things. Jirachi, as opposed to, oh, well, now it's going to be Scarm, Latias, Clef, Rotom, Bronze, whatever. It's... You see what I mean? I've seen even the way your opponent, and again, this is going to be saved more in depth for the videos more thoroughly exploring the intricacies of team preview in each generation. But the basic idea is like even based on their moves, and we can see that in this game. When the Bronzong used EQ instead of Gyro Ball, it's like, now what kind of Bronzong is going to not run Gyro Ball on a team with on an offensive team? Because defensive Bronzong on bulky teams, yeah, why would you run Gyro Ball? You don't need it. It's not a bad move, but it's generally, you can do better. EQ, Protect, Toxic, HP Ice, Rocks, all sorts of stuff. You can fit Gyro Ball in there, sure, but there's no reason to EQ and not 2-KO the Smeargle and potentially give it more hazards if you can help it. And why are you going to the Bronzong in the first place? Because Bronzong is just, slow and fodder for more. Surely you can do more against the Smeargle. And so your alarm bell, it's like, I don't know what's going on yet, but it's something weird, and you have to start really being aware of the possibilities of, I know I'm making my point over and over, but I think by repeating, I'm not repeating the point just to hear myself talk or just to say it over and over until you believe it. It's because there are so many little different intricacies of it that when I'm repeating it, I'm not repeating the same thing over and over. I'm showing different points of it to repeat the overall point. And when you show the different points of it, you establish the thing's legitimacy, or you, at the very least, establish where you are coming from with this. So, the Zong comes in at EQs, and you're like, what is going on? So that was a very smart U-turn from Laurel, just to start being more proactive. And the U-turn, even, if he lets Smeargle go down, max hazards, whatever, the hazards might not be enough if he's, facing something, funky. So he would rather just say, you know what, I'll take the one spike, I'll U-turn out, and I will save the Smeargle for Death Fodder. And, I mean, against Kingdra, you need Death Fodder. So, as an offensive team like this, is not switching in at all. It's like the scariest thing you can face. So, E-Speed goes off into Rotom. But yeah, that was basically the point. I hope it was well illustrated. If there are any questions, just leave them in. Anyway, Laurel cannot switch into Rotom here, as Lucario lives a Rain Hydro Pump. Wacky. I mean, it can live a T-Bolt, and Hydro Pump in Rain is Stab, so he's just bullet punching, can't really hurt it otherwise. So he's just chunking it, potentially. Yeah, into sure Shadow Ball range from this. And crucially here, we see that it is not... Well, we know it's not a Specs Rotom, but we know it's not a Scarf Rotom either. Because on this turn that it Bullet Punched, then he went for Thunderbolt. And maybe he should have Hydro Pumped again, because it's just going to BP again. It'll die to Life Orb. No reason to, potentially not keep up the illusion that you could be Scarfed. Unless there's some sort of mind game, you're afraid, oh, well, now we'll think this, and then it'll mess up my plan. But generally... better to conceal information. Early game information, but that early game information has to be, from turn 0. It has to be before the battle starts. A common thing that is done in Gens 3 and 4 is planning. Here's the list of common leads. Here's what I do against each lead. These are my plans. And here's what I'll be expecting if each lead. So, for example, I see a Roserade lead, and I have a Swampert lead, then I go to my, Zapdos, and I burn Sleep Turns against it because it's a special offense team, and they don't instantly threaten Zapdos, and Zapdos is pretty good against them, and I resist Roserade's hits, and I can, get something going there. And I have the ability to fall back on my defensive core, and I can strike back offensively. So, and when I see a Roserade lead, I'm expecting, Heatran, special or mixed Jirachi, offensive Suicune, things of that nature, right? So before the battle even starts, and then from turn 0, you're constantly updating it. So Kingdra comes in, gets sacrificed, and now in comes Empoleon. Yikes. Like the scariest thing you can face. Skyro's team is great. I really like it. It's just one terrifying thing you don't want to face after another. But not thrown together, not slapped together in a haphazard way. It's very intentional. Even down to the fact that the Empoleon isn't even special agility as you would expect. it's a swords dance. So it's like, oh, it's a rain team. Okay, well, it's outside of rain, so I can, take on the Empoleon with my, special wall, whatever it is, Clef, Blissey, Latias. And so I can play around it that way. Oh, whoops, it SD'd, and now it's hitting on the other side of the spectrum, and it's scary. So there's another SD from Emp, and it's going to finish... Oh, I guess the Scizor's faster, so it's going to BP. Oh, he didn't Aqua Jet, that's why. Yeah, maybe he was afraid it wouldn't KO, but surely. Anyway, in comes Infernape, and it's going to Mach Punch. I don't know how I feel about not going to Rotom there. I think maybe he was like daring the Infernape to even have Mach Punch or something, and he'd feel silly. That's a mixed Infernape, nice. Anyway, so now in comes Suicune, and Laurel has no choice but to Shadow Ball. Or is it Shadow Ball? What am I talking about? Well, he's going to try to clean up with Shadow Ball. That close combat does a ton. Good lord. But, yeah, maybe he could... Well, I guess he couldn't fake the Scarf again, because Infernape can't switch out, so he would have had to stay in, so... Well, yeah, the Suicune barely lives with Rocks and Spikes, the close combat, which must have been a high roll. That's so much. Thankfully, he hits Hydro. And now in comes Rotom to spam Shadow Ball and pray that the Heatran does not wake up from 75. And, yeah, so another... I like the addition of Suicune there because, you don't have Special Empoleon and Special Suicune and potentially you get Stonewall. No, you have them on different sides of the spectrum. And then for the speed against offensive teams, then you have Kingdra. It's very well thought out. Beautiful team by Skyrio. Can't emphasize that enough. So now Laurel Shadow Balls once. Heatran hasn't slept at all. That was its first turn. Second turn. And unless it's Custat Berry, he just needs 3 turns. Or a Fire Blast miss, if it is Fire Blast. And he gets it, and now he's going to sweep with Shadow Ball. So, nice game. It wasn't as simple as that. From that end position, he could have also crit the Suicune with Infernape, or it could have missed Hydro Pump. So, or he could have crit with Shadow Ball or dropped or whatever, and Fire Blast missed. So, odds, very decent odds for Laurel. Yeah, I wonder if preserving the Empoleon would have helped. Well, from 45, it might have... No, for 45, I think it could have taken a Shadow Ball. It might have been a roll anyway. But, yeah, I think he could have Well, no, he can't sacrifice the Rotom because he... No, I take it back. No, that was the right move. He had to... couldn't sacrifice the Rotom because then Laurel's Rotom just spams T-Bolt, and he couldn't switch to Suicune because dies to Mach Punch. And, I guess he thought Heatran had better odds to withstand the Shadow Ball and win than Empoleon. So anyway, so I hope my point was made, or it made an impression. Or I'm losing it. I've been working. So I hope the point was impressed upon you and meaningfully, of course. If there's any questions, let me know. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.